Welcome to another video. Welcome to another 5-year anniversary. In this case, it's our Q&A. You have sent quite a lot of questions for us to answer on this occasion, and why not for 5 years to celebrate how long we've been going for. And yes, look who's with me. Ooh.
Hello viewers, my best friends.
Listen,
look,
people don't need to see
they
that,
do.
man.
5 years. Hello viewers, my best
Anyway,
friends.
moving on.
Can I just at least finish the song? Come on. It's so good to see you again.
Are you done?
Continue.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for sending in all your questions for us to answer. Of course, myself and Megan are going to answer.
And Bailey's here to
moral
support.
All those questions that you've asked via our Facebook page and the community post on YouTube. Of course, Theo's had some questions fired to him, but we'll add that in a separate segment because he's busy doing other things right now, isn't he? Sorry.
As soon as the camera turns on, I yawn.
Anyway. So what we'll do, we'll ask the questions that you've asked to us, and of course we will answer them. Last time we did a Q&A was a long time ago. Do you remember that live stream we did?
That was a good Q&A, to be fair.
Yeah, the live stream on, well, it was on South Pier.
I remember being asked what the worst thing about Blackpool was, and do you remember what my answer was?
No.
The reputation.
Oh, good question, good answer.
Yeah, no, yeah. You thought the same as at the time.
We did do a Q&A back 4 years ago when we celebrated 1,000 subscribers, and a year on the scene when lockdown happened, and me and Theo did them. It seemed a long time ago. Anyway, should we stop waffling and get on with the questions?
What do you mean we? It's not a joint waffle.
Okay. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll go with Facebook first, and then we'll do the YouTube community tab ones after. I do appreciate everyone that's posted, but of course there's a few duplicate questions, so any that have already been answered, if I don't mention your question, please don't be put out by that, but the question will have been answered via a different question or similar, so you will find out anyway. Okay, first one is from Drew Pasby, and he's asked, where did you meet Megan, and what was the first fun fair ride you'd done together? And what a great
where did you meet Megan?
So a very interesting story is slid into your DMs.
Did.
It was
we
via
both worked
Twitter.
for the same business.
Yeah, we basically it was when I first got Twitter, or is what is now X, and yeah, I just randomly followed Megan, and
all I did was moan on Twitter about how much I hated my job.
Yeah.
So Paul asked me what was wrong one day, and the rest was literally history after that.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Once we met, we never
look back.
Well, we was never apart really. We spent the first year of it, like by each other's side basically at all times.
We even went on holiday, didn't we?
Yeah.
In fact, that leads us on to our next question, because onto the part of it, because what was our first fun fair ride together? I can't remember if we went on a fun fair ride.
We did. Winddyke Farm.
We went to Winddyke Farm, and we went on, I think it was called Over the Top. It's a bit like that Huss one that we did in Ireland. Takeoff, and me and you struggled like absolutely.
Yeah, it was bad.
Really hard ride
We had to go for a barbecue afterwards. We were rather.
Yeah, I think we did the waltzer. We did Daily Harness's waltzer actually, if I remember rightly. We got a photo of that.
Yeah, our first picture posted together was on the waltzer.
It was. So yeah, that is our first ride. I think it might have been the waltzer.
Our first official hard launch photo was on the waltzer.
It is. And when I was saying about going on to the whole holiday thing, we did go to Gran Canaria, and they've got, I think it's called Holiday World, which is in Maspalomas or Playa del Ingles. And we went on the pirate ship where you could stand up. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was good.
What a great question to ask. The next question comes from Gary Woodley, and he's asked, and quite a few people have asked this, is when will Theo do ghost train rides? Now, of course, Theo, when he was a lot younger, he loved ghost trains. He actually did quite a few, and there was a few jump scares that came up a few years ago that's really put him off. And you may have seen a few of rides that he got put off by and tagged us like last year's or the year before. I can't be a pushy person to tell him to go on ghost trains. I've said this so many times. In a way to say I would rather him do extreme rides than a ghost train. We've seen him on extremes, we've seen him on boosters, you know, we've seen him on quite a lot of big rides, and I would rather him do them than ghost trains. Now, there's a vlog that we've recently did a couple of days ago, which is already out, which was at Workington, and he saw the ghost train that he's done before at Taylor's, and he did do that there, and he saw it at Workington, and he was very close to doing it. He says, oh, I might do it. And he did this in, do you remember when he did this in Hunstanton? And he then saw some jump actors go running inside, and he was like, I'm not doing it. So the question, or the answer to the question there is, I don't know, if I'm honest
He's
with
quite
you.
strong-minded about it, isn't he?
Yeah. So
There's no point forcing him.
no.
Because...
So it's not, I don't know the answer to that question. But like I say, I'm sure you'd appreciate it. We'd rather see him do big rides anyway. Next question comes from Rob Champ. I think that's how you say your name. Congratulations on 5 years, thank you. What's your proudest moment on the channel? What keeps you motivated to keep vlogging? And how has the family enjoyed the vlogging over the years? Proudest moment on the channel? I think there's so many different ones, because Theo is obviously going to be the proud moment.
He's grown up on it, really, hasn't he?
Booster Max last year was a big moment. That's a big ride to take on, and a few people bet you're quite proud of that. And a few people actually shared that post and said about it, and I think that is quite a proud moment.
When he went on a freak out for the first time.
Yeah.
He was very nervous.
Very.
Bailey talked him into it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the big rides that he's done, I can't really be any specific, but there's a lot of big rides that he's done that I'm quite proud of him doing, because it's big to do. Like, he's not actually done the big one at the Pleasure Beach, but I know when he does that, it'll be a big proud moment, if I'm honest with you.
When the first time we met Bailey was when he convinced Theo to go onto a freak out.
At Ashton.
And the rest has been history, really, with Bailey. Our little...
Oh, Bailey, the showman's son. You will have seen, who was actually, when Margot did the teacups, he was the guy on that. The other answers you mentioned about what keeps you motivated to keep vlogging, I think it's become a hobby. An addictive hobby in some respects. Some people say it's quite expensive. It is and it isn't. But it's not all about the money and the cost and stuff like that. We've created quite such a fan base that it's
created a community.
It's really our sort of foundation in our channel. Without any of that, it would be quite hard to us to do. And how has the family enjoyed the vlogging over the years? As a family aspect, it's always been going from the start. Megan was kind of, you was introduced into this quite early on. In fact, at the very start, you was at Pleasureland Southport, weren't you?
I was going to say.
Which you may have seen the video to. If you haven't already seen, we have a video out already where we look back at our very first vlog. And Megan was, of course, in there. How can I forget?
Paul just came home one day and said he's going to start a YouTube channel, and he did.
It's because Theo wanted to, but I think someone else has asked that, so we'll come back to that anyway. Our next question comes for Stephanie Graham. Out of all the rides you have ridden, what is your top 3?
Oh, that's a big question.
I've always liked top scans. Absolutely love top scans, and I think going back to the early days of Fantasy Island and the Beast, that's always been an incredible ride. Another one is Booster. We used to have 2 boosters at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Absolutely adored them. And I've really taken on to waltzers over the last 5 years. Kind of like what I would call bread and butter of the fair, a bit like a sizzler. Not every fair has a waltzer, but I truly believe that waltzers are kind of something that a fair needs. Every waltzer is different. They produce and present it totally differently, and the way they run it, again, is totally different. And I love valuing that, especially when we go to Scotland, for example, when we do KLM, which is the 4 best waltzers. When we do Hull, we sort of look at the different waltzers and go, ooh, it'd be great to do all 7 if we did Hull and did all 7. It would be quite a crazy vlog, but that's for me. What about yourself?
I can't answer that, sorry.
Waltzer, waltzer, waltzer. The next question comes from Shane Gillard. I'm really sorry if I said your last name wrong. It's like a live stream all
Next
over
question, please. Can you put your name pronunciation in? Thanks.
What was your first ride that you've done on the vlogs, and how was it meeting you at Silsden Harrogate Indoor Fun Fair? The first one, obviously, it would have been... Well, actually, I didn't do any rides at Pleasureland Southport, but I remember doing... some local-based fairgrounds like Silcox, but even before the vlogs, Theo used to go on the waltzer. The first waltzer he did was Daily Harnesses at Windyke Farm when he was 3. I can't really remember the first one. I remember one I do remember. We went to Silcox in Manchester in 2019. A few months into was vlogging. And it was Mason Gauze's Mexican Wave, and Theo did that at the age of 4, and I'm quite fond memory of that. But to be quite particular, I think the first ride featured on the channel was actually a set of balloons from Pleasureland Southport, which you went on with him. The next question comes from Tracy Stringer. Hello.
Hi, Tracy.
What do you think of the funfair photography out of the car window? No, seriously though, do you think Margot will ever take over Theo once Theo is too big for the fun houses, or will she be discouraged by her parents? I think with that one, I think Theo's going to play a very big part in
Getting Margot excited for it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be terrorising me via Margot to sort of go, do it. And everyone knows that I absolutely hate the Big Boot Fun House. And I said to Theo, there's got to be a point where this is going to stop, because Theo will get too old for this.
But maybe Theo will take Margot on instead.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think I'm going to get dragged on, and I'll have 2 of them pushing me around.
We could live in a fancy world if that would be the case.
I don't think Margot will take over the channel. It's not something I've ever really thought ahead. I don't really know where we're going to be with her. There's no guarantee she'll even like rides, but we've seen her reactions on 2 rides, and she wasn't really phased. And that's how Theo was when he was younger. I remember when Theo did rides when he was at Butlins. But we'll have to see how the rest of the year goes. She's starting to walk now, so I think there's going to be a few features for her in the year. And then next year, yeah, I think we'll see her appear in a few different vlogs. It'd be great when she starts talking. No. Ian Holdsworth has asked, what was Theo's first big fair ride? I'm probably going to say what I've already mentioned. Mason Gauze is, the frogs are quite a big ride for such a 4-year-old, but then so is a waltzer. Yeah. Theo did a waltzer at the age of 3. And realistically, that is a big ride for a 3-year-old. So I'd say waltzer, and then frogs. I think he did a Matterhorn as well. I think he did Polar Express quite young, to be fair. Next question is for Lisa Pugh. I'm really sorry if I said your name wrong. I thought it was Powell, but you think it's something else, don't you?
Oh, I thought it was Pugh.
Oh, okay. Well, Lisa, please let me know if I said it right. How did you get into vlogging in the first place? Congratulations, 5 years. Megan mentioned about one day I came home and said, let's start vlogging. Theo actually wanted to do some form of YouTube channel. We just couldn't put our finger on it at all of what we wanted to do.
This was the time when Ryan's World was massive.
And
so he'd seen that type of YouTubing. Not cool, Theo.
I think there was an element where, for some reason, do you remember when he made some cookies and I got the phone out and pretended to film him? And I mean, we was never going to go into cooking or anything like that, or baking. But because I have a background of myself of loving like the leisure industry and fairgrounds and stuff like that, and amusement parks as such, it was just, I really can't remember why we chose Pleasureland Southport and how we got into that.
What do you mean you don't know why we chose Pleasureland Southport? Why did we go to Pleasureland Southport on that day?
Mum's Ride Free.
That's why.
But why did we choose to vlog? That's my question. And I don't know why. I think it must have just been a thing where I was like, do you know what, let's try this.
Yeah.
The vlog lasted 8 minutes. It was quite successful for a brand new channel. But also you've got to think of how did that go on from there. And we did try different things. We went to Beacon Fell. We did a vlog there, didn't we? I don't think that appears on the channel anymore. I think I took it off, but it might still be on there. I still got it on my phone, actually. Tried different things until we started doing more fairgrounds, and we proper got into that, evidently, as you can see. Andrew Grinley, all the way from Scotland. Congratulations on 5 years of PT vlogs. I have 2 questions. What's your favourite Scottish ground you've been to? Instantly, easy peasy, KLM.
Lemon squeezy.
KLM. However, Burnt Island, I've got a good reason behind that one, and we did sort of post about it last year, and I had a missed call whilst I was doing Cadona's, or what was Cadona's Waltzer. Missed call, called Megan back.
I was stressed because you didn't answer the phone straight away.
And I called her back after, and she told me the news of being pregnant. And I was stood not far, and I remember doing the post about it, actually. And that holds a lot of memories, because that was the introduction of Margot in some respects, and that's how I found out. And it was at Burnt Island. But KLM holds of I love KLM. It's one fair that I really don't want to ever miss. Hull's another one, but obviously it's not in Scotland. And what's your favourite Scottish machine you've been on? There's quite a few. Starfighter is very unique. I don't think you've seen Starfighter.
Is
It's a bit
it
like
KLM?
a Trabant. No, it should go to KLM. You don't know what Trabant is? Mexican hat. The one that's in Bridlington. Used to look like a roulette.
Oh yeah.
But it's not the same as that. It's sideways. She's definitely seen that. Some of the waltzers are fantastic up there. Obviously the Ghost Train roller coaster. I don't have a particular favourite Scottish machine. Outer Limits is another one because that is Scottish, and Theo absolutely adores that. And you've got some great fun houses up there. A good question. I don't really have a favourite machine. If I'll have a think about that one and let you know when I see you later this year. Olivia Jones has asked, would you make a CD of your lovely singing on fair rides? No.
I will if
basically not going to happen.
I'll make you a CD.
Another question, would you make a video of outtakes of filming a video as it would be funny?
That's funny you should say that.
There's probably going to be one of this one, if I'm honest with you. We've messed up quite a few times in this one.
Paul was nervous.
No. Outtakes are actually quite uncommon, just because the nature of it. Usually when there's a messed up section, we kind of go along with it. We did have an outtake video. You've seen a few when I did Blackpool, and I was trying to talk about Central Pier, and I just couldn't do it. There was an outtake video of that. There was also an outtake video of Liverpool Indoor Fun Fair, and there was very good reasons for that. One, because Theo told me he needed to get his arse on the slide, and the other one is because he stuck his middle finger up at the Ghost Train, and that will forever be a memory with me. But for future times, there's as much as I would love to do outtakes, I don't think there will be.
It sort of runs in an order anyway, like, and you've done so many vlogs at this point that you know, like, the sequence in which things follow.
Theo's unpredictable, but that's the element of fun. We keep that in there anyway. And
the thing is that the more you go, the more you know. So you do learn the people. I'm just concerned someone will be like, well, then it is scripted, but that's not what I mean. It's just you just know the order of what things go. Yeah,
we're certainly not scripted, that's for sure.
But I'm just conscious they'll come back and be like, oh, well, it is then. But no, you just know the sequence in which it takes to film the ride, rate the ride. You know, we know this. We know the score.
Ben Walmsley. Walmsley, I say
Walmsley,
yeah, I say it was Walmsley.
Like
if you could have, or if you had a chance to organise your own fun fair, what rides would you pick? You can only have 10 rides, no duplicates. Obviously that's going to be quite hard, but there will be quite big rides, of course. Waltzer has to be a waltzer. I think you said, we said 10 rides, so that'll be 10 rides. Waltzer, Top Scan, of course, love Top Scans. Booster, an Extreme, a Superstar, Ice Jet, or a Matterhorn. I'm not going to go in with a Super Bob, depending on whose Super Bob it was, though, to be fair. A
Mirror Maze.
Mirror Maze / Funhouse to keep, the entertainment. Not Big Boot, though. Maybe a Loop Fighter. Do you know what? A Trabant. I'd put a Trabant in there. And to put another rare ride in, I'd have to put a Rocco plane in. Because I've recently seen, after we did Workington, there's people are asking for Rocco planes. And there's one up north, and I know there's one down south as well, which no one seems to see it. It's such an uncommon ride to have that there. I just think people would sort of hope to flock there. There's probably even more rides. There's a few. I'm not a big fan of Miami's. Some Twisters are quite staple-like as well. But yeah, you could easily have 20 different rides there, and other people would choose different things. Then you're going down to the question of which booster and which superstar, because that does make a difference. Because which waltzer is also a big deal, because you could just say a waltzer and it could be a different waltzer to another waltzer.
That's where you'd have to duplicate.
Bradley Wilcock has asked, who is your favourite guest? Interesting question. I mean, Martin is technically a guest, even though he's kind of part of the channel in some respects. But you've mentioned Bailey, haven't you, earlier? And Bailey's a bit of a feature. In case you didn't know, Bailey is he is a showman's son. And he's featured in the channel a few times.
He brings out such a fun side in Theo.
Yeah. He's a great little kid. He knows his stuff, and
when you hear him on the mic on the ride boxes, always makes you laugh.
And the biggest point of that is he's also the future as well. The next question comes from Liam Paz. What's your favourite moment from each part of the UK, Scotland, England, Wales? And what's your opinion on Taylor's fairground attraction? I'll go with the fairground attraction, which is a waltzer first. I believe that was the winner of my KLM selection last year. Great waltzer. But I'm just trying to figure out the other one. What's your favourite moment of each part? I don't know. I don't really have a favourite moment. I think the atmosphere can actually be the element of the favourite moment.
You really loved Hull Fair for the first time, didn't you?
Hull Fair, KLM for the first time as well.
Loughborough for the first time as well. You really enjoyed
Loughborough
that
as well, yeah. When you go to these places, there's also the people there as well.
Daisy Nook you loved.
Yeah.
Is it called Daisy?
It's Daisy Nook.
I always want to call it Nicky Nook, but that's a different place.
Yeah. But I think overall, favourite moments is obviously Theo going on new big rides, but also just being there. And it's nice when people say hi as well, when people come up to you, especially kids with parents. It's just kind of it's weird, but it's quite magical in the sense that you've got young fans that adore what you do and what Theo does. And I know that a lot of people watch what Theo does, and they're sort of influenced, should we say?
I had my cousin text me saying that she's just seen me on the TV because her nieces were looking for a video on Southend on Sea.
And we
was like, we was the first video, and she's like, "That's my cousin."
Yeah, it's like a lot of family members don't know we do this. All my cousins do who live in Sheffield, but yeah, you've got quite a big family range from down south, and yeah, they don't know that. But back to the whole sort of magical of people coming up to you, it's really nice, and it's not for me. It's for Theo. They love Theo and they love having photos with him, and I'm fine with that. So yeah, I that's probably that, and the atmosphere is probably my favourite bit. Next question comes from Peter Bucock. What ride is better, G-Force Booster or Scream Machine Waltzer from Robinson's? Totally two different rides, which is interesting. One's a
I feel that's quite hard comparison.
Yeah,
really.
One's a waltzer and was a KMG Booster. Scream Machine's always been a little favourite of mine, but as that time's gone on, there's been some change and shift in waltzers last year, and fair trades have really picked up their pace recently, and I think a few people noticed that and they've upped their game. But G-Force was good because that was Theo's first KMG Booster, so I can't really compare them. I don't have a favourite out of the two, other than based on what I've said of reasoning behind it, if you understand what I mean there. The next question comes from Chelsea Bino. She's asked, you do a lot of fun fairs up north. Will you be doing more vlogs down south in the future? And more in France, Spain, Germany, Netherlands and vlogs in the future? Quite a good question that. We do a lot up north because we are based up here, but we have a plan for the south area. We are got an idea or a rough plan of what we're going to be doing. It's not set in stone exactly what we're going to do yet. I'm not going to say when or where until nearer the time. So yeah, there is going to be a few. But you mentioned about French, Spain, Germany, France, Spain, Germany, Netherlands, and it's a very good point because end of last year we broke that barrier of going to the first, technically, European fair. We went to Ireland, and then earlier this year we went to Calais, and that's quite a big step for us. And I think the atmosphere over there, the rides that they've got are totally different over here. As someone mentioned, I bet you're being bitten by the bug, and in some respects, yeah. Of course, there is other factors that plays into part. Obviously, we've got a newborn, so obviously it's not kind of catered for her. It's not like going to see
got a
toddler now. I know, yeah, and it's not really going to be for Megan or Margot right now. But yeah, I've got a few plans for overseas, and yeah, I look forward to trying to catch them ones. Gareth Pope has asked, or 2 questions. Really enjoyed your content from France. It was different and great to see some different rides. Do you think you've got any more fares for abroad? Of course, that's kind of linked to the last question. And Theo, 2, Theo's dad had to suffer from some of the smallest fun houses. Surely it's time you treated him to some ghost trains. Oh, we will ask that question to Theo at the time. But another point you made about France, I'm really glad that people have enjoyed that. You may have noticed we started doing stories on Facebook. Stories was kind of influenced by another vlogger who I don't watch vlogs often, but what I have done is watch some stories, and I'm actually quite, I liked them. I thought, I'm going to try them. Calais was the first place I did them, and a lot of people commented on it saying, I really enjoyed your content there. So yeah, I think we'll probably try and do some different areas. Of course, maybe we will go over to Belgium more, or to Germany, the Netherlands, as people have mentioned as well. John Marshall, here's a hard one for you. Out of the big 4, what is your favourite and why? We all know what Theo's favourite is. Actually, yeah, it might be a hard one, but it's in respect quite easily. I do rank my 4, and my favourite is of course Hull, but it's very close to KLM. KLM, absolutely adore KLM, but Hull is absolutely my favourite. And as you've mentioned, we all know what Theo's favourite, and he did choose Goose Fair last year. You may have seen we was actually in the newspaper. We was in the Nottingham, whatever the Nottingham Press or something. We was in the newspaper. I knew nothing about it until someone tagged me in it. They didn't contact me or anything, so I knew nothing about that either. And they said Fairground YouTuber chooses over Hull, Goose over Hull, and it was quite weird because even though I said Hull, Theo said Goose, they sort of emphasised saying that it was Goose over Hull, and I was like, it's not quite what I said, but I think what was important, they took from what was an 8-year-old at the time, and not from a 35-year-old at the time, because it's more important. I'm a 35. How old am I now? 36. I don't know how old I am. I think it's very important to take more of a point from a child or from him than me. But yeah, my favourite is Hull. I think I have to consider the times as well. If I went on a different day to Hull, because I always do opening night, it's always electric. If I went at a different time, that could change, if I'm honest with you, but I don't plan to change that. You've done KLM and Hull.
I've been to Hull.
You did Hull when you were pregnant.
I did Loughborough.
Because, no, it's
I
not
don't
part of the
the
big 4.
I don't the
Big 4 is Nottingham Goose, KLM, Hull, and Hoppins. You've done Hoppins as well. The only one you've not done is Goose. And we probably was going to consider you coming this year.
Oh, I'm invited.
Yeah. But yeah, you did Hull when you was pregnant, because we did the teaser saying Megan's not doing any rides, and it was like...
I was pregnant.
Yeah. Anthony Clifford has asked, what got you into vlogging in the first place, and what would you say is the best waltzer you've ever done? Congratulations on the 5 years. We've mentioned about what got us into vlogging, which is kind of random, if I'm honest with you. And what would you say is the best waltzer? Do you know what? It's chops and changes. Last year, we was playing cat and mouse between Joe White and John Collins. And there was evidently one winner, if I'm honest with you. Well, I'll say evidently, it was quite close, if I was honest with you. But, yeah, those two are very highly ranked. South Pier and Blackpool is another one. Well, I literally did. By the time we're filming this, at the weekend just gone, we went to Peterborough, and I did spin a disc 2 for the first time. That was incredible. Atmosphere Creator I did as well, and Atmosphere Creator when it was at Hull, another incredible piece. But there's so many great waltzers out there. There's some underrated ones that you don't really think about, like Pleasure Dome Waltzer, for example, which is Marshall Hills is a great waltzer. But it's underappreciated. Not people see it because you don't see it out very often. And there's a few other waltzers like that as well. It's hard to pinpoint which is my favourite because it's always shifted. Scream Machine was my favourite as well back then. But like I say, other ones have really upped their game quite recently. Martin Whitecross. This is a question for Paul. Have you ever done a vlog from the Meadows in Edinburgh, which is May or Yarm, which is September, October time. I believe Yarm is northeast. I have seen it. It just falls oddly, I think, if I remember rightly, of dates. I don't think it's out on a Sunday, and it starts midweek when Theo's at school. Northeast is actually quite hard to get to because you go up north, up the M6, and then across, and then up again. So it takes a bit of time, so it's hard to do that unless it's a Sunday, and I'm pretty sure Yarm's not on a Sunday. You mentioned Edinburgh Meadows. We put a post out yesterday about new places for Scotland last year, and Tailors of Edinburgh reached out to us and told us either that place or Colourn. Colour Bomb, it's called, which I think you'd love. It's basically colour bombs.
Love that.
Yeah.
We are, isn't it?
No, this is Colour Bomb.
Oh.
It's in Edinburgh. So I am probably going to do that one. I've not done Edinburgh Meadows, but they have advised us to do it if we can because it's such a great place. So one to probably do in the future, I think. The next question comes from the guy behind Welcome to Blackpool. I know who that is, but he asked the question, if you could own your own fair, what would you call it?
You'd call it something random.
I'm asking you. What would you call it?
I don't know.
That's a really tough question because I wouldn't really know. But Thunderworld Theme Park has commented on it saying great question. Thunderworld Theme Park's quite a good name for a fairground, even though the use of theme park, I mean, is kind of like it's not controversial. It's kind of a weird one because it's not. Some people say travelling fairground, biggest travelling fairground, or biggest travelling theme park. But Thunderworld's quite a good name. I do like that. He's put there, just no naughty grabber cranes. We've got that naughty toy. It's actually in our hallway, just perched.
Been given a name as well.
Was it?
Yeah, Paul.
Michael Bethwaite has asked, what are your 5... The only reason why we're laughing is because we've taken this shot so many times because I keep messing up. What are your 5 top favourite rides at fairgrounds? Megan?
It's just been too long since I've actually done rides that I can't remember. So much has changed since I did a 4th time fun fair.
I mean,
like
we did.
Fun fair.
We've done a couple of vlogs, just us two. Indoor fun fair at Harrogate featured featured a Tagada, it featured the Waltzer, and it featured Air Raid. You've done them.
But I'd say the Tagada I did in Lytham was funnier because I was holding on for my life.
You did.
My arm was killing after that.
Booster. You did a booster
I do like
at
a
Leeds.
Booster.
And when we went to
Ray Green, did I do a booster?
Wasn't Ray Green, it was Kirkham. Booster, yeah. You did
did a boost on the prom with just Theo.
For myself, top 5 rides. That's, it is quite a tough question because you're being obviously quite specific of the 5 top rides in itself. I mean,
Paul can't choose. He's really having a tough time here.
Yeah, that's really tough because it's kind of on your spot. You'd have to really put all the rides.
I think IceJet will always.
IceJet is definitely up there. Yeah, IceJet. John Collins Thunderdome Waltzer. That's definitely up there. David Hackett's Super Bob, weirdly enough, is on there, and so is a few other Super Bobs too, and Silcock's Freak Out.
Oh yeah, Freak Out. It's very unoriginal to Freak Out.
Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm not a big Funhouse fan, but that Funhouse in Calais was absolutely incredible.
What was the one with the
Oh, and that, in fact, as well. Sorry, Master Dreams was absolutely incredible as well. Michael Hill, what is the funniest moment at a fairground that was in the video? Go on, Megs.
For Theo walking to me amazing at Whole Fair. Nothing will ever beat it.
That was funny. He also did it in Ice Maze at Indoor Fun Fair.
When I just came off the ride, literally crying tears.
I don't think, and I think this beats yours, Megan, no one is ever going to forget the time, and this has already been mentioned.
Oh, no, is it me?
No.
Oh, when I fell over in the funhouse.
Oh, yeah, Megan fell over in the funhouse last year, that was funny. But no one will ever forget the time when Theo stuck his middle finger up at a ghost train. I've mentioned it already in the Q&A, but Personally, that's one of the funniest moments because I didn't even know he did that until I edited the video. So it went ungone. There was quite a few things unseen, yeah. But yeah, you falling on the funhouse was quite funny. I forgot about that.
Martin will never forget about it. Lives in his brain rent free, that.
Charlie Nicklin, what fairs are on your top of your bucket list? Fantastic question. I mean, we're whittling through quite a few now, and you're looking at things like, I mean, I mentioned before, tailors have reached out to us. Colour Bob, it sounds like a great place to
Where
go
is
to.
that?
It's in Edinburgh, Scotland. I think there might be a couple of other Scottish grounds, not off the top of my head knowing where they are, but there's a few places, a few showmen I want to catch, especially Hirches right up north. You're probably looking at things like Oxford and maybe King's Lynn. I'd love to go to a a Roland and Atherton's a Roland and Atherton's fair, which is a south west fair. It's very unprofiled. You don't see many people go to them on social media because it's so far away. And of course, whilst I mentioned down there, the Dingles fairground, which is it's just been announced it's its final year, which made me think maybe I need to do that. But then I've also heard rumours, whether they're true or not, they are moving to the Midlands, so I don't need to go down there because they're moving up here. There was quite a few bucket list ones years ago. Scotland, of course, KLM was a bucket list. And we did, I can't remember what it's called now. Carter's Steam Fair, that was on my bucket list.
Oh, that's really good.
It was a good fair, and they no longer operate now, so it was really good that I managed to do it before we go. But I think I've got bucket list rides now. I'm really clamping onto Superstars. Nearly done them all in the UK. Extremes is another one to try and see them all. But waltzers, wouldn't it be amazing if you've seen and done every single waltzer in the UK? That would be pretty good. Also, Ireland as well. Don't forget Ireland. There's quite a few places over in Ireland. I think we mentioned 7 when we looked at it last year. There's about 7 places that we'd like to visit there. That doesn't necessarily include the travelling showmen. It'd be great to get over there, if I'm honest with you, because there's quite some good stuff there. Gina Tomlinson has asked and said, congratulations on 5 years. Which is your favourite waltzer? It's kind of a similar question we've had already. However, favourite waltzer is really tough. Now, by the time this video comes out, it should have already been awarded. But I'm going to say it will be John Collins's Thunderdome. And if you're wondering why it is that, it's because of Knutsford. And if you've just not seen the Knutsford vlog from September last year, do go and see it just for that, and also see the top spin challenge as well. That's quite funny. But the reason why I say about the announced, it was our ride of the year last year. A waltzer I would never expect to be ride of the year, if I'm honest with you. I thought you was doing some weird stuff then. Like,
No, I was just wondering what award it's getting.
ride of the year.
Have you not announced that yet?
Well, it will by the time these guys have watched it.
So you're doing it at the end of...
It's at Blackburn. So we go Blackburn and announce it, and this video will be out the week after.
Okay.
Now I'll have to go on the outtakes as well now.
Yeah, but why have you not announced in January if this ride of the
Because
year?
we have to go and see them, and it's their first place they're going to.
So you're giving them an actual award?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in the loop. I'm in the loop.
So yeah, they are ride of the year. I never thought a waltzer would be ride of the year, but the way they presented themselves last year, and I know when I said they've been fighting against Joe White, and Joe White's noticed, they've both been up in their game, and both those waltzers are absolutely amazing last year. I think if you looked at the way and the photos I produced as well of Knutsford, you can see why it deserved a place in the top. And seriously, yeah, especially when it came from Alton Towers, because it was there for 2 years. Now, this isn't quite a question. Thunderworld Theme Park has commented in it saying, can't believe it was 5 years. To be honest, you've done amazingly well. Thank you so much. Hope you can make it to one of our events this year. Theo should be big enough to do loads more. Obviously, you've got 2 rides there. One of them Theo really wants to do. He wants to do Red Devil. That's not residing at Tier Prince this year. That's going to be travelling with Thunderworld. And the other one is Air Max. Now, I don't think Theo is going to do Air Max. We did discuss this yesterday about Air Max. I just don't think he's quite ready for that because it is a very extreme ride. Now, we've seen Theo do quite a few extreme rides, Mablethorpe Roundup being one of them, but I don't think he's quite prepared for something so exhilarating as that, being held upside down, which I absolutely hate, and then going through the station upside down. Of course, you've seen him on a rocket plane do that, so maybe he might take to it, but I just think he'd be
like it.
I think he'll be quite nervous for that one, but hopefully we do get to see you later this year. Martin Cooper has asked, 5 years, surely that's just the beginning, Paul. Great things to come. Thank you so much. My question is, what would be your 5 bucket list fares for the future, and not just the UK? So obviously we mentioned about bucket list fares by Charlie just before, and a great question once again. But overseas, I'm not very familiar with overseas, so I'm not going to be able to name every single one because there's probably going to be better ones than this, but Tilburg is definitely on there. And Dusseldorf is on at the same time. You've also got quite a few Oktoberfest ones.
I would like to go to Oktoberfest ones.
So we could end up having a look at something like this. But I really, and I know this sounds really stupid, I've been before, I really, really want to vlog, and this means going to the Canary Islands. Holiday World, as I mentioned before, because that will just take us back 10 years. That was one of our first fairs that we did. 11 years. I'm going to get in trouble now.
Catch me on the plane to the Gran Canaria, guys.
I'd really love to do that as much as I've done it already, but to sort of just go back and reminisce about it.
I know we're totally different now with 2 children on our own.
Yeah,
well,
and of course,
3,
of course, Theo has a bit of love for theme parks as well. We do have a few theme parks planned as well. Some people are like, oh, you're not a theme park enthusiast. But like we went to Plopsaland at the start of the year. He loved Ride to Happiness, Anubis, and we want to do Efteling.
That was my great idea.
Yeah, that's it. So in ways of fairs, there's probably way more, and you'll probably tell me, oh yeah, you need to do this, this, and this. Obviously, a lot of people have mentioned Tilburg. I just really think that's at the top of my list at the moment. So yeah.
The thing is, even though there is beauty in Theo's age and that he's able to do much more, school is a restriction for us, and
massive.
Want to get the most out of things at times. There's no point doing fun fairs because when we were able to go, everyone else is able to go.
Mm-hmm. David Moss has asked, have you ever worked at a travelling fair? No, I haven't. However, Theo really wants to spin cars and waltzes. He actually does.
I think there's great potential for Theo to get into it one day.
I think he could have that sort of element. I'm not saying that's what he's going to do. Never going to be persuaded into that because he also wants to be a footballer and stuff like that. But for myself, no, I haven't worked at a fair. I think it'd be something I'd enjoy. I think if I'm in a weird way, I'd be quite good at it. I don't know what rides. I think I couldn't just do juvenile rides or anything tame. I'd love to sit in a waltzer cab all day. I see guys and the showmen just sit there, and not just sit there, but proper on the mic and knowing what they're doing, playing the music, doing everything right. It's quite it's not that late. It'd be quite good. And you also asked what got you interested in fun fairs. I mean this is weird because my dad, you mentioned this the other day because Theo goes to fairgrounds. He seems to think because that's what my dad used to do as well.
I'll be back.
Oh, are you off?
I just want to check in with Theo.
Oh, okay. Make sure Theo's behaving upstairs. Yeah, so interest in fairgrounds is simply my dad. More iconically is Rill. Rill Ocean Beach. And I can't remember the ride. Rambazamba, I think it was called. They used to have one there. I think it was called Star Wars. And it's like a swing out ride. And my dad could not wait to get me to go on that. I don't know if it was height restricted, 1.3, 1.4. I was quite young when I went on it, and I was nervous. I really was. And the memories of walking around Ocean Beach, Cheap nights on Fridays, rides with 50p. I remember that. Used to be on the board underneath the clown. And I remember the waltzer on the right as you go in, the ski jump next to it, the water chute was there, the coaster. One of the biggest upsetting things was when that place closed down. My dad, we used to go to Pleasureland Southport loads. We used to go on what was called a night rider. We used to go on a Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. 4 hours, dead cheap, £5 wristband. And we used to go on the rides there, Dodgems, the skid. We used to love going on the skid, the ghost train there, obviously the roller coasters as well. And I used to get taken to Frontierland in Morecambe before that all went. I was a lot younger then, couldn't do many rides, but yeah, definitely it wasn't just the fact that I was getting made me interested in fairs. It was more because it was sort of inherited that way, and yeah, it was kind of my dad. Are you back now? Yeah.
Yeah, it's freezing it.
Behave yourself. Ryan Scott, do you have any existing ideas for future videos like road trips or maybe another abroad theme park in the future? Ryan, good question. I'm very. I keep my cards close to my chest. If I'm honest with you, I don't really like saying too much of what we're up to. There's no method behind it. It's just because I don't want to disappoint people.
Yeah,
I don't want to
things
say,
can change quickly.
They can. I don't want to say, oh, we're going to do this, 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 and this. That's why I'm very conscious of saying, oh, when you're going to KLM, I hope to do it this day. It's never a case of we're going to do that. We have mentioned about places I really want to go to, and they're kind of only the existing ideas we've got. We're always doing road trips. We did a road trip literally the weekend just gone, but would have been 2 weeks ago. We went to Peterborough, which was your birthplace.
My birth town.
Birth town. That was nearly 200 miles away. So that is classed as a road trip. South Wales we randomly went to last year. So there's always going to be another road trip. Where? I don't know. I'm very spontaneous and I like that. We went to South quite often. We went to Adventure Island, we went to London, South Wales, Western Supermare.
Yeah, it helps that I've got family based down south as well, so...
Adam Parton has asked, or has firstly said, first off, congratulations on 5 years of doing this. My question is, you have a time machine. What date and fair are you going back to? And in particular, and why would you go back to the fair? Do you know what? I'm going to link it back to what I just talked about, Rill. I would absolutely... You were here, you was upstairs. So Rill used to have a fairground there, which was Ocean Beach. Now, I would love to wind it back to 97. I think it was still there then. Pretty sure it went in 2000 or thereabouts, 2003 or something. Let's say 97. Going back and having one, I would have been 10. And seeing it one more time. And do you know what? It'd be amazing to go back in time and vlog it, to bring it back to here and go, look where I've just been. And that would be, obviously it's impossible, but that would be quite amazing. And, as I mentioned, Frontierland as well. Frontierland being a theme park amusement, well, it was actually a theme park because it was Western, would also be quite amazing to go back to. And people say, oh, that should never have gone and stuff like that. But it would never be the same. It would be completely different, just like Blackpool Pleasure Beaches. So yeah, in a time machine base of what you've asked, is that, and why would you go back there is just nostalgia, absolute nostalgia. The memories just very vague in my mind of how it was, and when I mentioned about the Rambazamba, I think it's called that, and my dad wanted me to go on that, but yeah, that's pretty much what I'd do. James Kirkham, there's a few questions that I've duplicated already. What's your favourite waltzer? We've mentioned. What inspired you to keep on filming? We've answered that already. What fair do you like going to the most? Oh, I mean, you probably notice I'm very consistent with Indoor Fun Fair.
Yeah, let's say
I'm a massive. I am actually. I'm not an official promoter, but that's kind of what we go for. We go there to help support it. It's, and I do enjoy it. I love the element of Indoor Fun Fair. I remember when it first came out. I think we were vlogging when that started, And I think it started in 2018 actually.
We're very fond of the team that run it.
Yeah, we're very well respected. We were always invited there when we was at Harrogate. He knew, well, I'd like to think he'd know, but he invited us even though we were going to go anyway. He said, you'll be there at Easter, won't you? I was like,
one of the showmen was the first to know the gender of Margot before Margot was born.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one. But of course, our local showmen around here, Silcoxes, we've got the Cubbinses. That's just to name a few. There's quite a few of the local fairs that we enjoy going to.
We've really built a good rapport with.
Yeah. I think in general, I'd like to go to different ones a bit more. I get asked, you're going to this one. Sometimes I try and, if we can miss it out. I don't want to miss fairs out, but sometimes I want to try something different. But I think the fair that I enjoy going to the most has obviously got to be like Hull, obviously, and KLM as well. I really enjoyed that, and I enjoy going up to Scotland. I think the fan base that we up there is great, and I love that. Treliza Berkeley has asked, and I hope I said your name right, has asked quite a few questions, so I'm just going to pick a couple that are a bit more unique, should we say. You've asked, one of the questions is, which is your favourite pier?
Can I answer this on your behalf? I know.
You can have this one.
But I know which is yours. South Pier.
Yeah, South Pier.
It's iconic. You can't beat South Pier, in my opinion. South
Pier is your thrill factor. I mean, Central Pier has some great rides, don't get me wrong, but South Pier has such a great waltzer. Got a breakdance on there. We've now got a Music Express. Dodgems. Spinning Coaster. So that's my favourite. Quite partial to North Pier back in the 90s when it was just like a classic pier. And you've also asked which is your favourite roller coaster out of the two questions of Pleasure Beach. Which is your favourite roller coaster at Blackpool Pleasure Beach? I don't know if you have one.
Infusion. No. I don't know if I mean Infusion. I don't know what I mean.
Icon's
what's the blue
good.
one?
Infusion. The one that you sit on, like, suspended looping.
Last time I went to Pleasure Beach, there wasn't tall enough for all of the roller coasters, so...
I'm just going to say Icon, and...
that'll be a certain young Taylor's answer as well.
Well, it will be. Theo loves Icon as well, yeah. Sarah Healy, question for all of you. Do you remember your first ever ride? No.
Do you mean on the channel, or...?
I think she just means in general.
Ever?
First ever ride. I mean, one just came into my head randomly, and this is like a roller coaster. I remember going to used to be a Butlins in North Wales called Pwllheli. We went when it was Haven actually, when Theo was little, and they used to have a looping coaster called Boomerang, and I remember that. But Butlins as well. I remember my dad trying to drag me on the Dragon coaster when he was at Skegness, and I cried my eyes out. I wouldn't do it. Theo would be on it like a shot. But they're early days. There was a lot of
My
early
first
days.
memories was Loverstuffed. Loverstuffed? We've been, haven't we?
Pleasurewood Hills?
Yeah, I went when I was a kid. I stayed in Haven in Pleasurewood Hills.
Alright, what ride do you remember?
I remember it was like a spinning ride that was like, I can't describe it. So it was like... What hand glides are what they're called?
Paratrooper.
Yeah. And my brothers were trying to get me to go on that, and I was too scared. I was having none of it.
You used to have paratroopers, I think they still do, at Butlins, simulators as well.
I remember when Southend-on-Sea, Adventure Island got, what's the claw ride called?
I think it was called the Claw.
I remember when they got that ride, and it being like the best thing ever. I think you couldn't get me off of it.
She's also asked a question. Do you ever think before going to a fair, like, I really can't be bothered today, but I'm going to go anyway for your fans? I mentioned before, it's kind of like become a hobby and an addictive hobby. I've never really
It's
been
just a part of your life, isn't it?
I've never really thought, do you know, I can't be bothered.
I have.
There's been you've got a busy lifestyle. But there's times where, on the flip side, we had there was no reason for it. We went to Lee one week, and 3 weeks later we didn't go anywhere until again, and I was like, that gap's too big. Because when you say fan base, obviously you don't want to disappoint fans and stuff, but I know they have a good understanding.
I must say the gap between, so obviously end of season to start of season seems to be getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Like I remember once it was like 3 months before break you had, and now I don't know if there's more maybe it's
I think that's because we
further.
do more now. Yeah, there's more for us to do.
But Paul couldn't go 3 months again without. He would find somewhere to.
I think that was COVID though, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it was. Maybe it was 20. I think it was 22. Anyway, Paul would find somewhere to go.
I'll have to try to.
He would be. Paul's passionate about his YouTube channel and his vlogs and fun fairs. So, and when you're doing something that you love, that you seek enjoyment from, and as well as entertain others, that's what really spurs Paul on. That's a nutshell of why Paul keeps doing it, people.
Yeah. And the final question on Facebook is from Susan Russell. Hi Paul and Theo. I would like to know how long it takes you to edit your vlogs. I'm thinking about starting to do vlogs. I have watched from the beginning. I think they're brilliant, from Susan Russell in Scotland. How long does it take to edit? Now,
at the start,
depends. I mean, it depends how long the vlog's going to be for a start. The longer the vlog, the longer it takes, because you're obviously editing it. Then it's got to create, then you've got to upload it. It can take a while. As Megan's going to say, I used to do my phone. I used to be on the phone.
Over days.
It would take a long time to edit my phone,
At the
get
start,
it right.
It took a long time.
It did. And you need to find the right software to do that. Get used to you sort of doing it. I've just changed an app. I've changed over from an app on my computer, and I'm using it. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but and it can take a while. And I've mentioned a few times, I don't do intros anymore. I stopped doing intros last year, just because of how long they were taking. They were taking an extra hour to do, just for an extra 2 minutes content. But I absolutely loved intros because it gives you an insight of what's to come, and I think it also helped me pull together the best bits for the year. So it depends how long you're doing it for. If you're doing an hour-long vlog, it would take probably 2.5 hours to do, to edit. Then you're looking at potentially 30 minutes to create it, depending on how good your computer is. And then it takes over an hour or two to upload it as well. So then you have the copyright side to things. The copyright to me is obviously can be blocked. You can block your videos. I've had a few. I've had a live stream being blocked, and you need to avoid it. So you have to then redo the whole. Well, you don't. You just cut out the bits that are causing you issues. You can get YouTube to do it, but it's not guaranteed to be perfect. You then got to do the rendering again. Then you got to do the uploading, and it can be very time consuming.
And at the start, it is very time consuming. But my advice would be to just start, and then you'll know. You'll gauge it, because if Paul knew then what he knows now, it'd have been a different ball game. Paul's talking from 5 years' experience of editing videos, long videos at that as well. So just try for yourself.
And to be fair, the only reason why I cut out the intros is to shorten how long it takes me. My lifestyle, like Megan's has said as well, we've got a busy lifestyle. People think this is my job. This is not my job. And Theo, he's a lot more independent, pain in the arse most of the time, but there's also Margot. So, the centre of attention does turn back to your family, but balancing this isn't as hard as you think. And it can be difficult, but as long as you get your priorities right of what you're doing, it's not too bad. But all the best for you starting a YouTube channel if you decide
good luck.
to.
I would say just start it, because post a video, what's the worst that can happen?
Well, that was a lot of questions, wasn't it, on Facebook? But we've still got YouTube questions to answer, so we're going to be doing that. But Megan really wants to read them this time because she thinks it's better that way. But that's fine. Now, just so you know, some of the questions that are asked or was asked on the YouTube community tab may have already been asked. So if we have missed your question out, I do apologise, but don't be put out by that because we have answered that question.
So the first question is from Adam Davey 145. He says, "Hi PT Vlogs, are you going to the Easter Fun Fair Blackburn this year? And what date in April are you going?"
Yeah, that's actually very soon. In fact, by the time this vlog comes out, by this Q&A, we've probably already been. So actually telling you a date is it's actually pointless. But yeah, we will have been there, yeah.
Hello Paul, how are you? Hello viewers, my best friends. Sorry. And Theo and Megan and baby Margot. Yes, I will join you for the quiz night in April. Look forward to it. Best wishes to you all. Take care, stay safe. And that's from Lynn Borlington. Thank you, Lynn. That's very kind. Adam Davey again. "Hi PT Vlogs. Is Freak Out intense and can you get vertigo on it? Because I haven't been on it yet and I want to."
I mean, everyone suffers differently in that kind of thing. Like,
well, I've had a vertigo turn once recently, and that wasn't from a freak out. I was absolutely fine on a freak out.
Freak outs are fine. They are quite intense, especially when you get the spin and pull. Every freak out's run differently, so it's kind of hard to sort of say do it or not. And the only thing I can suggest is you try it, but obviously I don't want you getting ill.
If you're suffering vertigo, then it's just as long as you know your limits.
Yeah, just take it with an advisory.
So from Blue_Lights 0, what is Paul's and Theo's favourite chocolate bar? Oh, that's a toughie.
I really used to love Star Bar from Cadbury's. I think they're still available, but hard to come by. But yeah, I used to love that. Right now, right now because it's Easter, I love those caramel eggs. They're good. What yours?
My favourite chocolate bar. Oh, I used to love white chocolate Snickers, but they've been discontinued.
Always the best stops, doesn't it? What's that about? That's Spira.
They really hold a special place in my heart. So from Paul Horsburgh, the council in Morecambe have recently said that they'd like to see the Frontierland site a leisure destination again. Do you think it would be a success, or if they try to make it an amusement park again? Personally, I would love to see it.
That's quite an interesting question. Yeah, there's with Morecambe, I do go there now and again. Actually, it's a weird place because it's quite a quiet place. Where the site is actually still there. That's very vacant. In fact, it wasn't that long ago since the Polo Tower was fully taken down, so the area is still vacant. Now, they are doing, or supposed to be doing, what is called Eden of the North. That's going to be located on the seafront where I think the water park used to be. And then that sort of place is where Taylor's Amusements, or Taylor's of Cumbria, do their summer fair. Now, should Eden of the North go ahead, they would need to relocate, and that potentially could be a good sort of location. Now, I know from the Morecambe community, they'd love to see a fairground amusement park come back. You're never going to see a theme park back there. You're probably not going to see an amusement park. Maybe something like Southport Pleasureland, as it's in its current sort of state, could do that. I think they'd have to get the ball rolling and have trust in it bringing visitors back, because back in the 90s and earlier there, it used to be a busy place. I know Frontierland used to be quite busy. Obviously, it's slumped.
Well, there's always a reason why it's gone, isn't there?
Obviously, because it may have not been viable anymore. But there is an option that could be used as a future area for a fairground. It could be treated a bit like how Burnt Island is. They've got an open pitch that's used in the summer. It's sort of plumbed in with electric as well, I think I've seen. And it could work like that. But when I've been to Morecambe, the fairground on the seafront there, and it's in a good location and has Booster Max occasionally, hasn't been exactly very busy. And I think you kind of have to have, the investors are going to have a look at stuff like that. It's really hard. It would be great to see an amusement park back there. If we're ever going to see something, I think Taylor's could do something with that. Taylor's have got a lot of rides. They sometimes have 4 fairgrounds on at once. They're the only people. Yeah, no, it's a really good question because it's like Southport Pleasureland. Southport Pleasureland, when it was the Thompsons owned, was an amusement park. They closed that down. They did what they did, and then I think it's Norman Wallace took over the ground. He's got some permanent rides in there, but he's also got invites travelling in. So you'll see Extreme pop up and the Booster now and again. Crash Test has been there, and that could work in front in Morecambe. It's just whether you get the buy-in from the area. Morecambe's really easy to get to now. They've now got a bypass from the M6 that takes you to Heysham. And even though I think about Heysham, you go to one of their bonfires, they're busy, and that's a fairground. They're charging like £5 a ride because that's kind of what a one-day event does. They are busy. So can you make it last for 8 to 10 weeks, like a Burnt Island Fair would be? You'd have to try it, and I think the only people that could do it would be tailors. If I'm honest with you, that's the only thing I could think of.
Is that what your thoughts?
Yeah.
So, Mouse Charger, a question for Paul. As a kid, where was your very first experience of going to a fun fair? And did you ever win a fish?
That's
Rest in peace, Frank.
Do you know what? Every time I get asked a question that's similar to another one, something pops into my head. And when you said, "Do you ever win a goldfish?" No, I never won a goldfish, but there used to be this amusement park in Scarborough I think it was called Mr. Marvel's. When we went to Sea Life, you could see the old cable car station.
Yeah.
And I remember going there and winning an inflatable lolly. You remember the inflatable hammers? And we've had this conversation before. It was an inflatable lollipop, and I won one of them there. I remember sitting at the top of the hill overlooking the lake where the I think it's like there's like a ride that goes into the water, which is still there to this day. I remember that, so there's a memory, and that was a long time ago.
The inflatables that have walked through these doors.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, there's that. I've mentioned Rill. I've mentioned Morecambe. I've mentioned Butlins. They're my fond memories of even Southport Pleasureland when it was years ago. Yeah. So.
Right. So this is from the Roblox Fair Enthusiast. 3 questions. You've already answered question number 1. Number 2, do you know about the Roblox side of the fun fairs? And number 3, do you remember meeting me with Mardi Gras Miami at the model show?
Yeah, I think I know who this is. So yeah. I think fun fairs around Scotland shares a few Roblox fairgrounds things. I think Theo actually goes on some.
Theo loves the fun fair one.
We get asked about what Theo's Roblox code or name is, and we don't share it, and there's a good reason for that, and there's nothing against anyone like yourself. But yeah, he
is a child.
He does like that. But yeah, you was at the KLM with your little rides. I do remember that. Yeah.
This is from my Michaela Fair. It's Michaela Fair. Would you bring back shout outs from Theo on a fairground?
They were very hard work, I have to be honest with you. They did abruptly end. It was a year and a half ago. I did like them because they were unpredictable and Theo struggled doing them. But it just made it really difficult. The problem I had was the overlapping of the fairgrounds. 1 week we'd do 1 ground, another week we'd do 3. So then it would really go out of sync with asking shout outs and then doing them off the last fair, so it was so hard to keep up with. And
as the channel grows, the more shout outs you got to keep up with.
Yeah, that's not a problem because we only did a select 5. It was quite hard work, so the chances no, we probably won't do that again.
Another one from Michaela is, would you bring back live streams from fairgrounds?
There will be a few. Likely to be DW for the charity event.
Lessons, guys.
Yeah. I did do one at Tier Prince once. I'd like to do more, but they are hard work to do. I don't really like taking my phone on rides because that's kind of what you have to do. And the network isn't always reliable. I could go, I'm going to do this fair live, get there, the network's terrible. So I can't, it's so hard to do. I do want to do them, but, we'll see.
And one more from Michaela. Out of all dodging battles you did, which dodging battle was your best one? The showman and the fairground? the Dodgems was on.
Oh,
Especially
right, okay.
for all of us.
Do you know what? I've just come up with my mind when we went to a Cowie's ground at Witton Park in Blackburn, and you two went in the car and I absolutely battered you, I think.
There's no way
you
I
argued
was
that you
driving
would.
then.
No, you was with the car with Theo, and I hit you from the side and your car went... Meow. I do remember that. I can't think
There's
a
no
particular dodging battle. There's been loads of dodging battles.
The one where I taught Theo how to drive.
No, he didn't. Any time where Theo crashes into the sides because I drive him into it, it's hilarious. I just love them. But yeah, they're my favourite. Dodgems themselves, I don't know which ones they would have been on the ground, but yeah.
Another from Michaela. Are you returning to Fondland Island in 2024?
Indecisive. It depends what goes. If it's the same lineup, probably not, but we'll see.
So Rick22244. This is for Megan. Would you do the fun house again, the one with the rollers? Yeah, I'll do it again. Just less cocky, I suppose. I mean,
so funny, that.
Good job I'm unembarrassable because it brought great entertainment. As I said in the previous video, Martin absolutely howled at it. And he would never forget it.
It was funny, yeah.
Leo and Winnie Adventures 458. Are you going to Alton Towers at some point in the future?
I was meant to go last year because of the Retro Squad. They're not there this year, but Theo's now 1.4. The chances are we will go. We do have another Merlin site to go to later this year, which would be Thorpe Park. So we are
picking the time to go, isn't it?
Schools again, and I hate it when it's busy. But we do have Thorpe Park, so we're going to probably be going there. But yeah, there might be a trip. It may not be with Theo. I don't know, but we'll see.
Richards 5280. Hyde Park Winter Wonderland has called saying they will bring in any one travelling ride in the UK or EU that you choose. Which will it be?
Master Dreams.
What question? Where's
Master Dreams? The ride we did in Calais where you control it upside down. If you've not seen Master Dreams, it's just been sold to Spain.
Get on the phone, Winter Wonderland.
There's probably better rides. I know we'll see bigger and better rides that I'll change my mind, but it was up for sale when we was in Calais, and I mentioned it to a few showmen up here, and it's like a frog. Everyone likes a frog, but everyone likes extreme rides. Combine them together, it's a perfect ride. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. It did run for about 7 minutes, but it's something unique, and I think having that at Hyde Park would be an absolute... It would be amazing. So I don't think we'd ever see that, but that's actually what I'd go for. If you've not seen Master Dreams, do check out our Calais vlog from January.
Final question from Michaela, who had an afterthought question, clearly.
How many questions have we got?
Have you done the mail vlog yet from Chris Higgins?
We've not been since last year. I normally get told when there's stuff there, and I've not been told if there is any stuff there, but we don't go as often. I of course, I appreciate things that get sent, but no, we haven't been...
The Benidorm tea towel is in use. Love it.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, if there is stuff there, we will go soon, yeah.
So, question from Susan Russell 42. I enjoy your vlogs, and have you always wanted to be a YouTuber?
No. I've never actually thought, I want to be a YouTuber. No. I never thought that I'd be doing something like this. And I know when I started doing this, I never thought I'd be doing it now. I remember
you don't know longevity when you start, do you?
No, I remember being in the attitude of, we'll see how it goes. I think COVID had a big swing influence, whatever you want to call. I just felt I needed to keep doing something. I know when I started doing the Blackpool videos, and then it became a bit of a crossover, and then obviously stopped doing the Blackpool things because this is what I started for.
Yeah, and obviously you had to use what you had in those times.
Yeah, the thing is, this is the argument. People will say, "Oh, you only do it for the money, or you only do it for stuff like that." It's completely false, because if I was doing it for views, money, stuff like that, I'd do Blackpool. Blackpool views on YouTube are insane. There's quite a lot of content that I still do now. South Pier Blackpool, I did Blackpool Tower. and Blackpool Sandcastle, I was fortunate enough to be one of the invited for that. And they've got insane views. Every year do South Pier. They do really well. If I wanted to do it for that reason, I'd just do Blackpool. You could walk down the prom like some people do and film Blackpool, and it costs you nothing. Whereas to me, I'm driving, paying for rides, this, that, and the other. Not losing sleep, but I'm doing more stuff, paying out for more, and getting less views. I'm not bothered about that. I do it because of the love that I'm doing it for.
Yeah, the things that we've gained is a community, more like prioritise family time. Because obviously, Paul and Theo have a bond that could have gone in any direction. It turns out they've got a great bond where they share a passion, which is a beautiful thing to see in the world these days, especially.
Yeah, but I never thought this is going to be long term, and I mentioned this in the video I did looking back at 5 years at Pleasureland Southport. I don't know where we're going to be in the next 5 years at all. Like, you can go, oh, here's the next 5 years. I don't know what we're going to be doing. You know, I don't know where Theo's going to want to do. He's going to be going to high school in 2 years' time. And I don't know how Margot's going to react. I have no idea where this is going to go, and I still don't know. So I'm not in it for the long haul, sort of like this is my future at all. It's just, we just keep going.
Enjoying it while
There's a lot. There is influences on why I keep going. But I mean the support stuff. When I went to Scotland, when I went there, I was like, the amount of love that we received from up there was insane, and that's the reason why I love going back up there, because we're so loved from up there. So that's an influence to me. So yeah, we'll see how we go and
trying great places to eat. That's a highlight
from TikTok. So you guys have asked us quite a lot of questions, and myself and Megan have answered as many as we could for you. But of course, you've asked Theo a lot of questions as well, so we're going to put him in the spotlight for him to answer them for you as well. Name.
Theo.
Age.
9.
Specialist subject.
Fun fair.
Theo. Gary would like to know if you will do ghost trains.
Nope.
Why?
Scary.
James would like to know, out of all the rides that you've been on, what is your favourite 5?
KMG Booster. The Waltzer. John Collins' Waltzer. Silcox's Freak Out. Psychic. And can't think of Loudmouth.
Okay. He's also asked what your favourite waltzer was, but you have answered that. John Marshall asked myself what my favourite of the big 4 were. But what is yours, Theo?
KLM.
Why?
Because it's huge. Huge.
Welcome to Blackpool asked, if you could own your own fair, what would you call it?
TTLDS.
TTLDS?
Yeah.
What's the LDS mean?
Laugh.
Okay. Michael Hill asked us what our funniest moment at a fairground was. Do you know what yours is?
Middle finger.
Thunderworld theme park. Hope to see you doing some big rides. They have big rides themselves, including Red Devil and Air Max. Do you think you'll take them on soon?
Definitely not Air Max.
But Red Devil?
Yeah.
Treliza asked us what our favourite roller coaster at Blackpool Pleasure Beach was. What's yours?
Icon for now.
Oh, for now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know about the big one.
Oh, okay. She's also asked what your favourite pier was.
Which one was the one that has the roller coaster?
South.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, South pier. Jacob Ferguson would like to know if you've ever been to watch rugby league, because I'm a League fan. Have you ever watched rugby league? Why?
Cause I don't play it.
Theo, Sarah Healy asked us if we remember our very first fairground ride. Can you remember yours?
I know my first ever waltzer.
Okay.
But not a fairground ride.
What was your first ever waltzer?
Atmosphere crater.
I don't think it was.
You told me it was.
No, I didn't.
I did it when I was 4.
No, you did daily harnesses when you were 3 at Windark Farm.
I don't know.
Oh, you forgot. Apart from ghost trains, has Theo ever been put off any other rides?
Put off.
As in, you don't like them?
No.
You don't like Starflyers?
Oh yeah.
Theo, what's your favourite chocolate bar?
Don't have one 'cause I like any.
Okay. Funfair fan has asked, if you owned a fairground, what ride would you have and why?
I forgot the name.
Tell me what it is.
It's a waltzer.
Waltzer.
John Collins' waltzer.
That's the end of our Q&A. Thank you so much for all your questions. Hope you've enjoyed all the questions and all the answers, and I hope you've got everything or all the answers you was looking for. It was quite an interesting Q&A, and I hope you enjoyed what Theo had to say as well. But that is the end of our Q&A. And thank you for 5 years. Of course, this week, if you're watching it during our sort of 5-week celebration, we've got quite a few things, of course. If you want to see our very first vlog, you can see me looking back at that and giving you a bit of an insight of how it was then to how it is now. And yeah, it's quite an interesting one, so do check that out. You can find the link to that as well in the description below. I also want to thank Megan for joining me by my side. It's not often that we get to sit on this sofa together, and that's actually a true fact, isn't it? It's actually very rare I get to sit here. But yes, if you are watching this and you've never actually seen any of the vlogs, because you never know, you might be the reason why you're watching. This could be the reason why you're watching us for the first time. Make sure you are subscribed and do check out some of the content that we do provide. Hope you enjoy the rest of the week of the content what we do, and we'll see you in the next vlog later. See you soon.
Great to have you here. Bye-bye.
Bye.